Good morning, Delray Beach. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jamel.
And we are here at one of our favorite places.
Yes, sir.
Capital One Cafe.
Yes, I like this little spot. And we have some
Pete's Coffee.
Some nice sustenance from Pete's Coffee.
What I love so much is that you can come here. It's great for people watching. If you sit here, you can watch all the cars go by. You can meet. I mean, I feel like every time you come here, you run into somebody that you know in town.
Right.
It's a great place to have a coffee and have a meeting, even if you're not a member of the bank.
Right.
Like, that's pretty cool.
And I think even if you feel that, you say, you know what, I think it's too busy for me to even focus there, you still can focus. I mean, even though it looks like a lot of traffic, you still can find a nice little cubby hole, a nice little spot somewhere.
And there's rooms that you can book.
Yes.
It's just like a really great, you know what it feels like to me every time I come in here? You know when you're in college and there's like the rec center and it's like cool and everyone hangs out there and you get a coffee and you stay a while? Yeah. That's what this feels like to me, right?
It does. I can
Maybe I like it because it makes me feel younger again and not so old.
That's why she likes to. She wants to live here.
I want to feel young again. So I'm always
second
here.
Forever young.
But yeah, I do. I think it's just such a fabulous place, and you can do banking or not do banking, and either way, you're welcome.
We have to get caught up because even since last week, I mean, since the last year, like what is it that you've been having going on?
Oh, you know, there's always a million things going on in this town.
So you was working on a new collection.
We have a new collection coming out for spring summer 24. What people don't realize is how far ahead we work. We're like a year ahead.
Oh wow.
Yep. So we're working on all of that, and so you can even bring your dogs, guys. Like you could bring your furry friends. It's perfect.
Well, our next guest, you meet Roof.
But no, I've been busy working on that, and I have a workshop at the Arts Warehouse tomorrow night, so you can come and make tassel earrings with me and have some fun.
Oh, that's really cool. Well, you know what? I had the opportunity, the EJS project, they invited me to be the MC of their 2023 graduation last Friday, which was awesome. I mean, when you look at a small intimate group, I mean, there was a lot of people in the room, but there was smiles, laughs, there were tears going. I mean, it was a really fun event. I even got a chance to sing one of my favorite songs.
You did?
Yeah.
Wait, where's the video of that? Dupree, we need the video of Jamel singing. We lose all our viewers for some reason.
It was good. It was an interactive group. I had the whole crowd involved with it.
Of course you did. What do you mean? This is the perfect MC.
And then Monday night, I was the keynote speaker for Carver Middle School's 8th grade graduation. Their moving on ceremony.
So cute.
And they haven't had one, since before COVID.
Oh wow! So it's been years for these kids to have that opportunity.
They had it at Atlantic High School in the auditorium. It was packed. I mean, it was cool to see some of my old teachers, some of my old classmates. It was crazy to be in that room.
That is cool.
And some of the kids I know in the community. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, guys, this is the perfect MC. I mean, you bring the energy and the hype, and it's perfect.
I try to do all those things.
And you're so great at like getting the kids all amped out, which I think is so great.
Well, during the 8th grade, being the MC for the event for EJS project, the MC is more you control the energy of the crowd. You got to do the whole event. Being a keynote speaker at a graduation, it was more, you had to twist that tone a little bit, but if I twisted a little bit, add a little humor in there, but I wanted them to really receive the message that I was trying to give them. So
what was the message? What was your overall message?
I think, it was like 5 different points that I made, and I think the first one that I told them is that, one of my favorite quotes is that you're the average of the 5 closest people to you. So basically it's all about the people that you keep in your circle and the different. You need people in your circle that you don't need yes man. You need people that's gonna challenge you, do better.
Help you grow.
And I told the kids a lot of things that they're doing today is for likes and shares.
Yeah.
So
what a good message.
So we spoke about that. And then I spoke about there's a story, The Tale of the Two Wolves, which I think is like one of my favorite like Native American like folklore stories, where the grandfather was talking to his grandson and he told the grandson, listen, we have battles going on within us. And there's always a good wolf and a bad wolf that's battling inside of us. The good wolf is that person that's showing love, that's really nice to others, that's doing all those great things. Then you have that bad wolf that's just jealousy, just envy, just that mean, nasty person. So the grandson asked the grandfather, he was just like, if we have wolves inside us, they're a very aggressive animal. If they get in a fight, which one will win? The grandfather looked at the grandson and said, the one you feed will win at the end of the day.
That's
so
great.
depending on the energy that you feed out, that's the one that's the one that's gonna go over. But awesome message. So enough about that. Let's get to
That's
what we're
amazing. Well, we have one last note, a community note.
Oh yes.
We are all still looking for Coach Yak. So check Facebook out, check the news. You can find his photo. Let's try Delray Beach. He's a resident. Let's try to find him.
You know, this is a crazy, awkward story, you know, and it's very sad. So I'm hoping that something comes about, because he's impacted so many kids, not only in Delray, just in South Florida, you know, and not even here, just in his native country as well. I know he's from Sudan, so. Yeah. And he does a lot of traveling, going back and forth, impacting kids and impacting his village over in Sudan. So
we need to help him.
Yes, big time. So a lot of people have been affected by this. Yeah. And I'm hoping that
that he's safe and sound.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he's safe and sound.
So if you've seen him, let's all try to let the police know they're on the lookout for him. Yes. And let's bring him home safe.
Bring him home safe. So go on the Facebook page, go on the Delray Beach PD page. They have pictures up there of Coach Yak and what he looks like. You know, he went out for a jog early one morning and he hasn't been back since.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yes. All right.
Well, on to happier news. Yes. We are once again here at Capital One Cafe. We love this place. Yes. But I think instead of us just gushing about how amazing it is, we should bring someone on who can tell you the facts as to why this is such an amazing bank.
Right, I agree. Let's bring on Ryan Coughlin. Coughlin. He's the Vice President and Senior Director of Capital One Small Business Bank.
Senior Vice President.
Yes, Senior Vice President.
I know, he's got a big title. Yes. Come on in.
The crowd goes wild.
I mean, it is, we really love this bank. And I know it sounds silly to be like, I love coming to a bank. But this is not just your average bank. No. So for people who haven't been in here, what would be your number one thing you would say of why they should come and check out this bank?
Well, I mean, Capital One, everybody knows what's in your wallet, right? But like, look, check this out, this beautiful, cool cafe, right? It's a unique model. You know, look, I run the business bank group for the state of Florida. So I think something that we do differently is it's really a white glove approach, right? So my team and my teammates, we work with businesses in that $2 to $20 million range. And it's just different because banking is about relationships. I think over time, some banks have maybe gotten away from that. And I think it's something that we really put a big emphasis on, is making sure that it's all about that white glove approach and really making sure that the client has a great experience every single day. And so we really deliver on that model.
Absolutely. So you obviously have this big fancy title. What is your background to have gotten to the point that you're at in your career?
Well, look, I've been in banking for 19 years. You know, I've been with Capital One about 8 years. I mean, I don't know if it's you know, so fancy necessarily, but it's been a wild ride. I mean, banking is, especially right now, banking is wild time banking, right? But you know, I've been with Capital One almost 8 years now, like I said, and I was in the Washington D.C. market, and we actually started building out this Florida market in 2018. So it's newer, right? So we've been down here for about 5 years now. Been through COVID, right, which is crazy. But it was pretty cool because we've grown this thing organically and we've got to make it our own. So like Cap One already has a great culture, but here in Florida we have this like amazing pseudo culture within Capital One that's been tremendous, and we've really been able to make it our own. You know, it's different than you know, coming into something that's already there. We built this and made it our own. So it's been a really fun experience.
So now, I mean, within the small business world of banking, and we know here in Delray there's a lot of small business owners. And there's two sides to it. You got that person that's starting up a business, a small business, and then you have the people that's already been in it, that's being successful. Then you have the people that's in it, that's struggling. You know, so let's
especially post-COVID, I feel like a lot of small businesses took off.
So what's some advice that you can talk to a small business owner that's just starting, that's coming out?
Well, just know that it's gonna be hard. You're gonna have to be in it, right? Like
all the time in it.
Well, it's crazy. Well, a lot of my friends are like, oh, I want to start a business one day, right? And then they're like, because they think, oh, well, I can, you know, work a little bit and everybody else is going to do all the work.
That's cute. That's so cute. Very cute.
But then they realize, hey, I'm working 80 to 100 hours a week. I am essentially the business, right? So we try to tell business owners, you know, you are the business, right? Like have really good people around you, really good advisors, a good accountant, a good lawyer, good banker, good people, hire good people. You know, people always ask us what's been our success in Florida, and I'm like, it's not because of me or because of the bank, it's because we hire the best people, right? We get great people, and I think like that's the key to having a great business is like make sure you put the right people around you, and then you're engaged, you're involved, you know what's going on day to day. You're not just like, taking your eye off the prize and just letting it go. So
it's like that quote that you made earlier about the 5 people you surround yourself with, and it's the same in a business, right?
Feed the good wolf.
Feed the good wolf. And because it's true, in a small business especially, every single person has to jump and wear a lot of hats. Even if your title is A, I feel like you wind up doing a B through F half the time.
Oh yeah.
But it's surrounding yourself with these people who are going to help your business. So for a business who's looking for a bank and they're just starting out maybe, or they're established and they're like, they don't like their bank, because let's be honest, I have a bank that I don't love, that one of my businesses is in. That
I'll give you one of my banker's cards.
I know, I need some cards actually. But what would you say are the right questions to ask? Because like I started my business in New York. I went to, there's a bank there, because I was in my 20s, had no idea what I was doing. That bank is there, and walked into the bank without any information. What would you say, like if you're at that point where you're looking for a bank, what are the things that people should be looking for and at the questions they should be asking?
So I'm going to give you just kind of a really nice example. I mean, look, banking at its purest form is a relationship business. When I got into this business 19 years ago, my uncle had been in banking for 40 years, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And he's like, Ryan, you should do banking. I was like, I'm not that great with numbers. I don't know, this seems pretty boring. He's like, no, you should do banking, because it's, numbers is a piece of it, but it's all about the relationships and building relationships, right? And so I think that people, bankers, banks have forgotten about that. So I think, I'm giving you kind of a long answer to a short question, because I think you need to make sure that you have somebody that you can have a relationship with. And when I say that, make sure that you can get in touch with your banker. That it's not just an 800 number, right? Like you don't just walk in and you're just another number. You want to have somebody who knows you, who knows your business, who's going to be an advisor to you. Something we always say to our clients is like, you can call me, text me, email me. I'm going to get back to you same day.
That's a big deal.
So make sure, like, no matter what bank, if it's Capital One or whatever bank, make sure you have a bank that you have a relationship with, and a banker, like know your banker. Like don't just be another number, don't just be somebody you're going into a branch and they don't know who you are. Make sure that you get that personalized service and that the banker's delivering for you, because we work for the client. The client doesn't work for us. They shouldn't have to jump through hoops to be able to get a delivery back to them. And so I think that's really important. That's the number one thing I would say, is make sure you have a relationship.
And even on that note of that small business owner that's say, you know what, I have a great idea. I know exactly what I want to do. I have it on paper. I just don't have the funding.
Yeah.
How does, walk me through that process. I don't have the funding. What should I do?
Yeah, so great question, right? And access to capital is a huge piece. So for startup companies, it can be a little more difficult, because most companies, to get conventional finance at a bank, need to be in business for at least usually 2 to 3 years. But there's workarounds for that. I mean, like, look, you can use a smart card, for instance, to get working capital, right? But we have different programs, whether it's through the SBA or we're doing conventional finance. But I would say make sure you're mindful of, as a small business owner, make sure you're mindful of your finances. Make sure that you have a good accountant, that you're showing that you have profitability, right? Because banks don't know that if they're lending money to you, that they're going to get paid back, right? So you can't say, oh, well, I'm not showing everything on my taxes. Well, it's going to be tough to get financing.
You want to build business credit at the end of the week. So just go ahead and show, so you can walk into the bank and say, look, I'm doing great.
Absolutely.
And I would do even better, if I'm able to borrow this money from you.
Absolutely, because you have to show that you can pay it back. And so just making sure that your finances look good. But there's multiple different ways to get access to capital. And I think that, again, it goes back to that relationship with your banker, making sure that they're looking out for you and giving you all of the options that you have available to you.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I think so often, like as small business owners, you do one of two things. You're just like, oh, I just need money, and pick anything and without seeing the options, or you do the opposite and you're like, oh, I don't want to borrow anything because I'm going to get hit with all these fees. And I think doing the research really and finding that partner, because I have another bank that I work with another business, and she answers the phone and we're like, hey, like something was weird, and she fixes it. Whereas the first one, it wasn't really good. And I think you learn those things, but if you can avoid having the same thing happen to you, where you just pick a bank because you're in your 20s and it's a terrible experience, you want to be able to set yourself up for success starting out with the right business. And I think too, having a place where you could come in and feel comfortable talking to somebody.
So, but I have a question. So you've been having all these issues with these banks, right? And how many times have you been in Capital One?
I know, guys. I know. So, look how he called me
You're a small
out.
business owner.
Just on the spot.
Look how he called me out.
Give you one of my banker's cards. I'm gonna give you one of my
The
banker's
senior
cards.
vice president of the bank right here. Yes, but it's true. I think it is one of those things. But once again, being a small business owner, a lot of times you're like, oh yeah, but I at least know what I'm dealing with that bank. And it's like, it's, what is that phrase? The monster, and like I feel like I know what that crazy bank's gonna do. I know the fees I'm gonna get hit with, and I know all the whatevers. And so it's and I think especially after COVID, a lot of us business owners are just scared. And then you hear about the banks and this and that. But what I will say is, Capital One, from all of every interaction I've had with any member, from walking through the door to meeting any of management, it's a different level of service here.
Different.
It really
We always say
is.
changing banking for good, right?
Yeah,
It's just different. It's a different vibe.
It doesn't make you feel icky.
He did speak on, when he talked about building relationships, that's what it's about. So when you go through those feelings and you have those interactions and you have those thoughts, you say, you know what? I'll go over here and ask my friend over here at Capital One. And that's what sometimes you can call them, because this is a person that makes you smile when you come in through the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, a lot of them, they remember your name sometimes, and they call you by your first name. So
because when you're a business owner, every single, especially a small business owner, every penny that you bring into your business counts.
Absolutely.
So when you're like, oh, I have to pay this and then, or this, or then this, and you have, like, all those numbers are scary. So I think when you have the information and somebody is happy to see you, instead of you feel like they're just trying to take all your money, it's a different experience. So for someone like me who's coming in and we're like, I don't love my bank, I need a new bank, or you're starting out, and they walk through the door, what do they ask for?
Well, I would say, ask, hey, do you have a business banker? And again, look, this isn't a traditional branch, right? Like, this is like almost a marketing piece for us. So they know the business banking team. They can connect you with one of the business bankers. You can also go online, CapitalOne.com, and you can plug in, that you're a small business owner, and plug in your information, and somebody will get back to you the very next day.
Wow.
And so I'll have one of my bankers reach out to you directly. They'll come meet with you at your place of business, right? We want to bring the bank to you.
Oh, that's incredible.
That's kind of our model here, because we don't have traditional branches in Florida. The cafe is great. It's a fantastic place to meet, but we don't have traditional branches. We want to bring the bank to you. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to do your business banking with Capital One. So we're going to come to you. We can even link up with you quickly via Zoom if need be. You're on the road, whatever. We can make things happen digitally. We are a very forward-thinking bank, so we're going to do things quickly. We're going to make things work for you. We want to put as much of your money back in your pocket.
Right.
You just said, saving money on fees, things like that. We'll look at all that, right? Do an analysis and see what we can do to make things as seamless as possible.
And that's a major perk, because I think a lot of times when you sign on with a bank, they push you into, I've been pushed into programs that they're like, this is the best one. And then after the fact, when I look at it, I'm like, no, this was not the best one, and have to change it, because there's the one where if you hold a certain balance, you don't have a fee. But I didn't know that. She just said, do this. So I was paying a fee for no reason. And I think, but having someone honest who can hold your hand and walk you through it is going to make such a difference.
Have that relationship.
Yeah, this is amazing.
No, I agree. I was about to ask, so what is it that sets, the small business side, of banking with Capital One apart from everybody else? But you already answered it.
Yeah, he did.
I think it went to him through osmosis
already,
or something.
This was the time to be convinced of the bank that you need to work with. Is there anything else that you think people need to know about Capital One, whether it's for small business banking or just as a general statement?
No, look, I think that we're a great bank. Like I said, we're changing banking for good. So if you want something that's different, something that's kind of a unique model, and something that's going to really make you feel like, hey, I've got a relationship, we're bringing that every single day. My team, we take a lot of pride in that white glove methodology. And I think you feel that day one coming in and working with any of my bankers on this team across the state of Florida. We love to compete. We usually don't lose.
Listen, he said that with a lot of swag. Listen, if you want it, we're bringing it every day.
Every day.
Every day we're bringing it. We like to compete. What's up? What's up? Line it up.
You got to fire up.
Bank of America, what you want to do?
Here he comes.
Okay.
He's calling out people by name.
Listen, everybody's competitive in the world.
That's
It's competitive.
right.
We'll take that
Competition is
commercial all day,
good.
man.
You need a hype man. We got you one right here. But no, you're right though.
No,
it is. It's. I'm sold. I don't know about you, right? Who wants to start a business? Come in here. So, and then you mentioned, so for businesses, what you're considering small business, you said is 2 million.
2 million to 20 million is our
20
sweet
million.
spot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really our sweet spot here, and so that's the business we really like to work with deeply and continue to grow.
Yeah, so if that's you out there and you want to even just find out, if for people who want to find out information, if maybe you want to change your bank, I mean, I think you're going to talk to somebody for 5 seconds and you're going to change quick. But this is the place to come.
Right, and don't be scared when he talk about the numbers of the 2 million or 20 million. I may be speaking for him, but don't be scared to come in and ask questions if you're not in that range. Still come in and ask those questions.
Because you can be really soon. Like that's the thing in a business is you hit one good thing and you skyrocket.
Absolutely.
And so today you might be at, I don't know, 200,000, but tomorrow you could be at 2 million.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many overnight successes, and
definitely.
could be you.
Absolutely.
I agree. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much
It's
for
been my
your
pleasure.
time.
Thank you guys so much.
This has been so wonderful, and
Yes.
I'm excited to have learned all
I
this.
am. Me too. I learned a lot. I still have some questions, but we'll ask a lot of those later on. You know,
Over your coffee.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, thank you, Ryan.
Thank
Thank
you
you guys.
so
Appreciate
much.
you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
No, that's something.
This was amazing.
No, I agree.
I didn't realize, and I realized how wonderful this place was and how great everyone is here, but I didn't realize exactly what they could do for small businesses.
Well, I think every time we come here, we learn something new.
Yeah.
Another branch or another arm
Yeah.
of Capital One. There's so many layers to really peel back, with what they're providing to the community. So I think that's wonderful. And I hear of a lot of small businesses that's having issues. And if you're having these issues, come on in and ask some questions, to the crew here at Capital One.
And before we go, we have to give a special shout out. It was Luis's birthday.
Luis, the man. Your birthday?
Whose birthday? Maurizio. Somebody's birthday. Maurizio. No, it was
Luis.
They're making me look
Somebody know
crazy.
Luis.
He's making face at me. I was like,
Luis'
wait, no,
birthday.
I swear they said yes.
He just turned 22.
Okay. Luis is the man behind the scenes who makes sure that we start on time, gives us a countdown, makes a face if we're doing something crazy. Thank you guys. I'm like, wait, guys, I swear he told me. But yeah, and we are so grateful to have such a beautiful crew here and can't do it without them.
I agree. Hey, with no further ado, have a Delray day. Peace. We're out. We love you. Holla.